Thank you so much for joining us on Unpacking with Charliy. How are you doing today?
I am great. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course.
Yes.
I think this is a very special episode for me, just because I actually know you on a totally different level, very personal level. So a lot of people don't know, this is my aunt. This is my aunt, and I'm so excited to have you here. But you're also a life coach. You are in ministry.
I am.
You are a first lady of a pretty well-known church in the city of Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
And you are a businesswoman. You're a mother. You're now a grandma.
Yes.
What would you go?
BB.
BB.
Yeah. Swahilian for grandmother.
See, she's a BB. She is BB. So there's a lot to you, but I really want to talk about who are you, introduce yourself, and kind of give us a background on just where you come from.
Okay. Hi. My name is Tammy Stewart, and I am. I was born in Longview, Texas. We won't go into that. It's a long story from East Texas. I've been in Houston for 22 years, where once I got married, I moved to Houston and became a resident here. I told my husband that if something happened to me, should the Lord call me home before he calls him home, do not take my body back to Longview, because I will be buried in Houston. Sorry, Longview. I love Houston. I love the what's the word I'm looking for? Diversity.
Okay.
Here, I love the diversity here. I am a mother. First, I'm a wife. Almost 23 years in December.
That's a long time to be married to one person.
That's another
and
podcast.
To be married to I want to talk about that.
Okay.
To be married to my uncle. Let me just look. But that is a lot of love.
This is an anointing. This is I'll say that. Yeah. It's been,
and I want to talk about that though.
Yeah, I think it's a good conversation.
I think it's a great conversation.
I think in marriage that everyone, there's someone for everyone, but I believe that God divinely allows people to get together, allow individuals to get together. And sometimes we just step out there. And honestly, sometimes, even though it's been 23 years, sometimes I wonder, did I just step out there? Because it's not always easy.
Yeah.
So people may make, and it may be vice versa with him. I was listening to someone speak on yesterday. Matter of fact, it was Marcus Wiley. He was speaking, and he said that he and his wife separated because at one point he didn't think that she was the one, And I think sometimes in the marriage, especially at the beginning, I'm like, oh, did I miss God?
Yeah.
Sometimes situation come and did I miss God? But then you grow together and you continue. It's not an easy journey. Now, some people may be beautiful every day, but every day is not beautiful. Some days it's not peaceful,
Yeah.
but it's intentional, and
Yeah.
it's a decision that has to be made over and over and over again. Sometimes you don't want to make those decisions.
I don't even know how you make that decision, because I'm single and I'm barely making it on my day-to-day, my week-to-weeks.
You week to week.
When I meet a new person and I'm like, oh, you come with a lot.
Yeah, and I guess because after so long, you have, you think, because I think there's still levels, and you're unveiling and you're revealing yourself even after 23 years. I spoke to someone who had been married for 40 years, and I said, when does it get easy? She said, it doesn't. You continue to learn new things. You continue to discover. And I think what happens, the danger of allowing your discovery to be by incident and not by purposeful. Like literally, I'm revealing myself to you because I want you to know that this is the new level of me, because we evolve.
Yeah.
And if you can tell me that you're evolving and not try to show me, if we can sit and talk about your evolvement, so that that causes the partnership. So if you're changed, let me shift with you. But if you feel like you're changing and you're looking at me and saying you're not changing and you're not where I want you to be, you're not who I need you to be, and then you leave me and you're wondering why I'm looking at you like, where are you at?
Yeah.
Because you didn't pull me in your growth or your change process. So when you change and you're together, marriage causes you to want. Partnership says, let's do it together.
Yeah.
There's no way in the world that you have all these offices in this building and the vision that James had, or whoever, the partners had, and you say, I'm going to have 275,000 clients, and I'm going to leave you with one. No, that's not partnership. If I'm here and my name is on it and we're representing one another, then definitely I need you to come with me. Let's do this together.
Okay. Look, see, we done already jumped in. You done already gave us the meat,
Listen.
potatoes. That's the upper plate. No, and that's what I love so much about you. And it's because you speak with such a conviction and a strength, and like your voice is always. Probably gonna cry on this episode, guys. So I just want to let y'all know, my aunt.
No, we're not gonna do it today. We're not gonna do it today, Charmaine.
My aunt literally makes me cry every time I talk to her.
That's my baby.
Catching my tears because I don't like to cry. But it's so crazy because when I met you, I met you. That was the thing. Like my uncle, because of the dynamics, my uncle's younger than my mother,
right?
And so you came after I was already here, right? And typically it's like, oh, this is your aunt, this is your uncle, right? You just come, you born into it, but you came after the fact,
right? And
I feel like you were always very strong. Like you always had a strong personality. It was never like a, oh my God, that's my aunt. Right. You know, like it was always like, oh my God, I love her. Like there was something to be admired about you. But as I've gotten older and as I've grown and gotten to know you, not just as my aunt, but I would consider you like, you know, like a friend, a mentor, you know?
Right, right.
I've gotten to hear your story. Mm-hmm. And to be very honest, that's why it makes me want to cry. I don't know how you get to the strength in your voice, the dynamics in how you speak, and the passion that you have for other people with the things that you've been through.
Right.
I have no idea.
Right. It's most of, and I can say how I want to.
Yes.
It's most of the time because I'm pissed because it almost took me out. And so it's my refusal to let you to experience what I experienced. Is that human enough?
No, that's human.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you didn't just do it with your family, because it's good to have somebody in your family do it. I'm like, I'm going to cry. But it's good to have someone who just does it, like you have a great, like an aunt or somebody. But you do this in other people's lives.
For sure.
You are a life coach. Right. You're a mentor. I feel like you're a purpose partner, right? Like, not only were you a purpose partner to your husband, but you're a purpose partner by choice to other people. You attach yourself to people's purpose and destiny to make sure they make it to the other line, to the finish line. But you weren't always like this.
You said I was not?
There was Tamisha.
Yeah, there was Tamisha.
Let's talk about who was Tamisha.
Well, Tamisha was always, she was very insecure. Tamisha was very uncertain about who she was, to the point she was very suicidal. She didn't know who, as a matter of fact, I didn't really think about living after 18. I saw no purpose for my life.
Why
I saw
18?
nothing. I don't know. I just felt like after I was finished with high school, then there was nothing left. Because I had no idea, no clue what I wanted to do. Yeah. Although I was, everybody would always come to me for problems. Everybody would depend on me, and I've always been the cheerleader. Like literally, I was a cheerleader. I did do that. so I was always the cheerleader, and I always wanted to see the best. Like I've always been for the underdog. Some of the worst students. I would see the best in them. I didn't have to fight for myself because they would do it, because I always saw the best in some of the worst. And they may not have seen it, you know, but I could never see it within myself. Yeah. You know, and it's something that you could always see. I could always see someone else's greatness, but the denial of who I was for so many years. And so Tamisha battled with Tamisha for years. And it was like literally until about the age of 40, where I literally just... 40. That I launched out and realized, girl, you got something to live for. Like, you've been doing this all these years. Yeah. And so it's only been like the last 5 years, about 5 years strong, that I've really just walked into it and said, hey, this is who I am. Yeah. So insecure a lot.
Where was the root of that insecurity? Where was the root of that?
The root of the insecurity was not having, my mother was a beautiful woman. You know, my mom was an awesome woman.
It's my other grandma.
But my mother was wounded. Like, she was in a relationship, and I didn't realize how terrible it was. So as a little girl, I saw her. She would never smile. She was always working. although people loved to be around us, she was never smile. And I didn't have my father around to tell me, that you can do this. But the insecurity came from not being able to know, or someone say, hey, you do that well.
Wow.
Or I'm proud of you. And it's not that she wasn't, or they, she wasn't. She was just so engulfed in her pain. Like, if you had her in this seat, we would both be on the floor crying and weeping.
Oh, I plan on having her in that seat.
Let me tell you. So, and so she was not able to pour into us, empty, dying. That's what she was. It was only when I became an adult, where I heard her really laugh.
You went your entire life, pretty much, up into your adulthood. You had a child.
Right.
Before you started to hear your mother laugh.
Right. Right. And that's what happens when you're engulfed in pain. That's what happens when she worked. She was a very hard worker. She's a nurturing person. You know that.
Yes.
She's always been a nurturer. She'll make sure you're taken care of, but she's dying literally inside.
It's crazy to think that, in retrospect, a person like that can have that deep level of grief, pain, anger, inside of them, and then it almost be like a total transformation happens.
Yeah.
And she's the opposite, because when I'm around her, she's peace, she's love, she's comfort,
she's laughter.
Oh, she loves to crack a good joke.
Okay, that is mine.
And you will be the joke, and she will comfort you.
Yes, she will.
She's on it, but she's present.
Exactly.
We went to Maui, and I felt like I was present with her the whole time. She was present. She was experiencing everything. She was taking it all in. And so it's crazy to think of that dynamic. Did you see any of that show up in how you were living your life, or maybe that gave your perspective on how you lived your life?
For sure. First of all, growing up, I didn't want marriage because I didn't want to look like that.
What does look like that mean?
Look like that means unhappy. Look like that meant taking stuff that I didn't understand why. I wouldn't, I'm not the sharpest crayon in the box.
But baby, biblically, she gonna catch it.
But when I'm... Spirit of discernment. Hallelujah. And so I just saw a lot, and I'm just like, this cannot be what marriage is. And so I always said that I would not take that. I would not take that. And how did I take that along? Sometimes I became strong and independent, which also causes it to become difficult to find that balance. Where
were you emotionally independent, or just like financially, like
all of the above?
Okay.
In my financial independence, it wasn't because I had a degree and was making a lot of money, but I would work 2 jobs to make sure that my apartment and my car note and my child's daycare was taken care of at the age of 23.
So you had a baby at 23?
I had him at 22.
Were you married?
I was not. I was not a married. I had him. That's a whole nother story, honey. That's another show. But, so yeah, I got pregnant. Can I just share that?
Yeah,
I got pregnant
go
when I was in church. Not just at church, but I was in church. I was serving God with all my heart, and I've been celibate for some time, for at least just a few years. But I was celibate. I had changed.
Trying.
I was trying. I really was. And I got pregnant. Like, I'm a worship leader and I'm leading, and I got pregnant and with my son, which I don't regret at all, Charmaine. I never wanted children, but once I had him, his presence was my change in life. Literally. Because of what I felt growing up, my heart was very hardened. And to love was difficult for me. To like you, I could do that. But love, my heart was hardened.
Why was that? Were you afraid of it?
I was afraid of it.
Okay.
Because I've experienced it before. And crap, do love always have to hurt?
You know what? Because I be asking, do we have to go through struggle love? And it seems to be so ingrained in our culture to have, it's like you have to earn love through pain.
Right.
And I don't like that feeling.
Right. Jesus showed love. He showed love. He didn't provide us with pain, but we show our love by paining him. And it's amazing how people use especially in marriage, when I hear people use that's our growth, or when you love, it's difficult to hurt or pain someone that you love. To me. So then now I'm saying, is love enough for human? Is love enough that would say, okay, I'll take that. I'll continue to take that. Or will your love be enough where is love enough to say that I can be faithful to you, I can be loyal to you?
Yeah.
And it's just it's puzzling in this decade, this time that we live in. Love is puzzling.
Love is challenging.
Yeah.
Love.
And it does not have to hurt. Love
It
can
doesn't.
be beautiful.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, and that's a whole nother story.
So you had your son.
Yeah.
You found love in that moment with him.
I did. I found love in that moment. Like, I wanted to protect him. I wanted to make sure that he was good. I know I could never be perfect, but I wanted to be the best mother. I couldn't teach him how to be a man, but I could show him how to treat a woman. So I wanted to be the woman that he wanted to treat good, you know? Was I rough? Doggone, Skippy, ask him. I was very rough. I will punch you in your I will punch you in your throat. No. No.
Like, he grown now. We're good.
No, he was saying the other day on the phone, he said that if I'm not afraid of anyone else, I'm afraid of you, little lady.
Facts.
But we have a balanced relationship because, even though once I got married, my husband was on the road a lot. So me and Trent, we were still that duo. And so after I had him, I did have him as a single mother. And then over the years, I just felt like nobody's going to want me as a single mother in church, because I never really dated church guys.
And neither do I.
Yeah,
I'm working on it. Amen.
But I just felt like I knew I wanted someone that had that understanding, because I dated a lot of guys that didn't, if I brought them to church and you start asking why they doing that, then that was just, it's hard for me to try to explain all that.
I don't have to explain this to you.
So when I had him, and I just felt like nobody's going to want me, so I'm just going to be the best mother I could be for my son. And then your uncle came. Like, he wasn't the only person who came. And he came, I guess, with the identity that many women had just chased after him, and that's what he expected. Yeah. Well, what he didn't know, many men had chased after me, and I didn't do the chasing. I did not. And so when he came, and it's not that. That's not that because I didn't feel like I was worthy of that. I'm like, boy, please, whatever. Yeah. And for a year, when he came and approached me, he approached me falsely because he said that he wanted me to help him with the worship team. And I was cool with that, but if you're interested, be interested. This is a note for someone today.
Come on,
don't play games. If you're interested, just be interested. Say, hey, I think you're beautiful. I would love to take you out on a date. Let's talk about it. Let's just be real. Don't play the little fancy games.
It's very easy. Let's just get to the point.
Yeah. And so for a year I ran him until you're gonna, if you want to talk to me, you say you want to talk to me.
Yes.
Don't use your, and this is another lesson for those who are chasing leaders. Don't allow the leadership to pull you in and you get sucked into something that you had no business getting sucked into. Now back to this conversation.
Okay. This has been an announcement. Service announcement. I'm giving PSA.
So he came and he wanted to and so after that I was like, okay, sure. And he chased me for a year because he would call and say, can you call me back? Call me back. Well, if I'm working 2 jobs, taking care of a child, and I was singing background on the side, trying to make it happen.
And I work in ministry.
And I was working because I've always worked in ministry. Yeah. I always loved ministry. So I didn't have time to play games. I really didn't. Yeah. Okay. And I didn't want my son to be around a lot of uncles and stuff. So so we finally met. Yeah, we got together, and then shortly after meeting and dating, we didn't date long, before.
I didn't think you did.
We did not.
I don't remember you being
I think we met in, I don't know, 98. Yeah, we met, we had our first date November 98.
Did you come to Christmas that year right after that?
I did.
Y'all, wait. Okay. My aunt met my uncle, and it was at Christmas.
I did.
So there's no excuse for you guys out here talking about, I want it. No.
Yeah.
It was very quick.
Yeah. But when one thing about guys, they say that they know. They know, that's another conversation. They know when that person is the one, and it doesn't take a lot of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been talking on the phone, but we actually had our first date in November of 98, and then I was there for Christmas.
He brought you home right after?
For Christmas, after the first date, yeah.
Wait, after the first date?
After the first date.
So that was technically like your second date?
Pretty much.
We had to meet us?
We had been talking on the phone that long, and just, yeah.
You had to meet the Stewarts?
Y'all were fine.
Carrie, you had to meet my grandma.
Love you, Mom.
We love you, Grandma. But what? Okay.
Yeah.
And yes. Because I'm thinking about it. Like, it's a lot as a single woman who went from, okay, I've seen my mother go through this marriage, get to this next marriage, because she had a different relationship with your father.
Right.
And there was your stepfather.
My stepfather. Mm-hmm.
Who was...
Yeah, that was different.
Wild, right? It was a wild situation.
It was a wild situation. Uh-huh.
So, in that time, you didn't really have much say-so because your mother was shut down.
For sure.
In regards to your relationships. And then so you go from that to trying to figure out what is life as a single woman, and then you get pregnant. So then you have your son.
Right.
And then you get you're pretty much, I'm going to say you got thrown into this relationship. My uncle tried to swindle you. And you got into this relationship with this man, and in such short time, you're seeing someone who's like, all right, I want to do this with you. I want to bring you to the family. So you go from crazy relationship to I don't want no relationship to trying to find a relationship with myself, then someone who depends on a relationship with me to now someone who wants a relationship with me.
Right, right.
What?
It was scary.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was scary. It was scary.
Because that's a short time.
It is. It's a very short time. As the matter of fact, when I was walking down the aisle in that dress and all those people in the church, I said to myself, girl, what are you doing?
Really?
You want to really get married? You about to do this? Because I was afraid. And that morning in prayer, my best friend, Marcine, was there at the house. And she had prayer with me. And I'd wept like never before, because 2 days before my wedding, my stepfather died.
That was right before.
That was right before. And as, and this is not literal, but spiritual, God began to speak to my spirit, and using that situation as a speaking tool. He said, I am killing everything that has hurt you from your past.
Jesus.
And that meant my insecurities. That hurt me. That meant my self-affliction. That hurt me. I'm killing all of those things off of your life, and I'm going to present you something good and new. So whenever he allowed me to, that prayer that morning just broke. I mean, I wept, Charmaine. I wept because I had never been so afraid in all my life, because all I'd seen was negative and failure in marriage, and I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to fail. So I wept and I cried. And then as I walked down that aisle, I had the last sense, you my little baby. Charmaine was a flower girl.
Yeah, I was.
She was like 5 or 6 years old. She was my flower girl. But as I walked down that aisle, I didn't feel like the little girl that's like, oh, my dreams are coming true, because I've always dreamt of that. I had no idea. What color do you want? My favorite color is black. I had no idea. I didn't have a book to say that if I got married, I didn't have, because I never thought that I would be married. And then the second part, I have a baby. Who would want me with a child? That's what the enemy would paint and made me feel. So.
And I love that you just brought that out, because not every woman goes into that phase of their life and is excited. A lot of the times we hear of like the jitters, like, you know, for men, they always make that a joke. Like, you sure you don't want to do this?
Right.
But they don't realize there are a lot of women who are like, can I just run?
Exactly.
Is anybody gonna be at the door? Like, that runaway bride was a real thing.
That's a real thing.
That's one of my favorite movies. I'm telling you. And it's so funny because now that I'm in the dating phase, it's like, okay, now I actually want a relationship. I want to get married.
I know my baby has gone, yeah.
But I didn't want that either.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're giving a voice to those women.
Yeah.
And it's not because you're bitter.
It's right.
It's because you were broken.
I was broken, and life experience had taught me something that I had to get over. Just because I've seen the experiences. Experiences doesn't mean that was going to be my experience. I was afraid of my son having a stepfather.
Because you had it.
Because I had it. And I just didn't. That was one of the things I was like, my son's not going to have a stepfather. He'll be 18 before I get married. That's just like, you know. And I was afraid for him at first, because I was like, what if I take this child into this relationship and I have to kill somebody because that's my baby.
You don't play my son.
But the Lord gave me peace about it. He did. He gave me peace. And I know that I'd seen a lot of women make mistakes in that area. And God gave me a peace about my husband.
Yeah. So
I was okay. By the time I got down the aisle, I'd gotten over it. I had no tears. You know, he would cry. I couldn't cry.
We cried.
Everybody was crying.
We were all crying. We were all crying.
Yeah, because I think I'd got my weeping out that morning. And it wasn't because, like, it was just... but I was finally able to stand there and say, as I wiped his tears, that I could do this.
That's wild. So you say yes, we're doing this, I do. Did you know what you were I doing too? Because now you're now shit. I know you wanted to. Thank you. You know what? I'm gonna say it for you. Hell no. I'll do it. She can't say it. Hell no. I said it. Shit, I said it. So you not only married a man, but never been married before, hadn't have no kids. Mm-hmm. The ladies was after him. He's a musician. He's a pastor's kid. Now he's a pastor. What? How did you do that?
I just walked in. And by the time I got in there, as far as let me start over. Because I didn't just walk in. I walked in the church and it was so bad because the females, as far as that, had already left the church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
how did I walk into a world that I knew nothing about? Because we were really strangers because it was so quick, you know? So I didn't know his friends. He knew, because my friends were very far and in between. Like, he has a million friends. I had to rent some people for my wedding because and that's just something near and dear to me. I don't play with it. But I was coming into a world that I had no idea. I knew nothing, right? I didn't know who I was here. And he had already been established. I knew I have this baby, and I knew I had a 1995 Mitsubishi Mirage.
Shout out to Mitsubishi.
Okay, thank you. Shout out to Mitsubishi. I knew I had that car that was almost paid for. And I was lost.
Wow.
Absolutely. Especially when I walked into the ministry, because I was at Bethel Temple and I knew exactly who I was, right? I knew finally, and I'm not going to say exactly, but finally I'd walked and I just started the ministry thing and, you know, going through training for that, still feeling very insecure about it, but I'd started training. So when I got to our church and became the first lady there, you know, they would try to put me in these beady suits. Like, I was smaller than, I was like a size 4.
Tiny, y'all.
And they would put me in these beady suits. And I got these big old hats on, like, because they told me that's what I was supposed to look like being a first lady. And you should have saw at the...
I'm going to put a picture up there, actually. I'm going to insert it in here so people can see it.
And then at... so at the installation service I had on this, and I can't call her name, one of the saints to go with me on Harwin to pick out something to wear. And it looked like a rug, and then it had fur at the end. It was dark purple. Usually they wear white, but I had on dark purple because they didn't have the white suits in my size. They were all too big with the blings on it because I had to have bling, whatever. And then I had this fur hat to go with the suit that had the. I was 27 years old. 27. I hadn't turned 28 yet. I was about to turn 20, and I was looking like that. So I walked into 27 when I got married, and then 27 when Dad turned the church over, about to turn 28. So I got lost in what they said that I was supposed to. I got lost in being behind the shadow of not knowing what to do here. Like, I don't know how to be a wife, but I'm going to learn that. I'm in this church. I have no idea. And so now I tell other young ladies who are pastors' wives who are just entering into it, I tell them, and this is what I had to do. I had to sit down because it becomes depressing when you don't know. One of the main things that causes depression is just not knowing either who you are or what's next. And I became depressed because I was in this place. I wasn't working. I was just his wife and Trenton's mama. So Tamisha, Tammy, whoever you want to call her, lost herself in the shadows of those two. And I think at one point I began to get comfortable hiding and promoting, hiding and taking care of them, hiding and making sure they look good. And I lost myself. I did. I literally lost myself. But then after a while, it took some time, like 40, really, around 40. I would get engagements here and there, but I was not secure about those engagements either. I just went, and the Lord did what He had to do because, honey, I was a nervous wreck. So how did I enter into His world? And your uncle is very private, so some friends I still don't know. Yeah. Because he knows that many people, and so
he has so many friends.
And to me, friends is such a term.
He got so many acquaintances and fans. He got a lot of fans. I'm gonna say it.
He have a lot of fans.
He's got a lot of fans.
So it was not easy.
So 40. What happened at 40 that you were like? Because at this time, and I like to walk through these phases. Okay. Again. So you are now married. Yeah. You've been at 40. How long have you and my uncle been together?
I got married at 27. So is that 13 years?
13 years. So 13 years you've been in this relationship.
Is that right? Did I calculate that right? Because I don't want to be wrong.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
13 years you've been in this relationship. You've been mom. At this point, Trenton's how old?
Oh, 40. I don't know that, y'all. Because he's been gone for 10 years. So, yeah. He was about 17.
About 17. 18. So Trent's about to go into his phase of adulthood.
Because he's gone.
Because he's gone.
He's gone at this time.
He's gone. And you're still first lady.
Right.
You're working.
Right.
And you're still doing ministry. But what happens? What clicks?
For one, Trenton left. And that took, because again, being married was one thing, but I was married to an evangelist who stayed on the road. And so with him staying on the road, Trent and I were like, how I said, that's my dude,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
that's my dude. That is my dude. So when he left, I wanted to make sure that he had that balance. I knew my husband grew up, without balance, and I tried to teach him balance as much as I could. That's my husband, but I wanted to make certain that this little boy had it because I grew up with it. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that he was able to play football, and I wasn't having the neighbor to take him to the football game or to his practice. I'm gonna do it. Yeah. If I have to miss baseball, if I have to miss Bible study or whatever, then I'm gonna take him to practice. So I spent time with him, but when he was gone, I was still working a job that I didn't like. I still had a husband who wasn't home. And I was stuck with me. And still wondering at the age of 40, like, what have you accomplished? What have you done? And I felt like I had failed in those, not as a mother, because I wasn't perfect, but I was a good mother to him.
You were a good mother.
I feel like I was failing. I did feel like I was failing as a wife because it was just.
He was always gone.
Yeah. And you know, life happens there. So I just finally, I fell into a pit that I refused to die in. And I'm trying to see what year was that. 2000, I mean, at the age of 40 is when I was like, okay, I haven't, what have I done? I think it's every milestone, there's something that you look back and you wonder, what have I not done?
So that's 2012.
It's 2012, okay. So after that, it was actually after 40 then, because it started at 40,
okay. Trent
left. But by 2016, something transpired in my life that almost took me out, literally.
Yeah.
And I say this often, if anyone follows the platform, that I felt like I was just going to run away and never turn back, ever.
I thought you were.
Yeah, I started to.
I really did.
Because it was a bad place. But I was in so much pain for so long. Literally, I laid down one night and I was crying on my pillow. I wept. I said, God, just show me what I need to do. And the next morning I got up and he had me writing, because as you know, I love writing. Not love, but I can write, okay? And I was writing, and he said, I want you to begin to write just write a letter to somebody who you will not want to see them hurt like you're hurting. And he said, and this person is a first lady. Because at the time of hurting, I didn't have anybody to go to.
That would be realistic and have a real conversation with you.
Yeah,
be there.
Exactly. And then if I did, I didn't want to hear it again. Okay? And so I reached out, like I was desperate. I don't know if you've ever been hurt so bad, you just need somebody I don't know if you can just take the knife out of something because right now it's hurting. I reached out to I was in people in IMs. I don't, Charliy, that's not me.
That's not
I
you.
was in people, I was desperate because I was hurting so bad. And so when no one answered, I had nobody to turn to. I did talk to one person, my godmother. He had me to write. He said, I want you to just write as if it were you trying to heal you. Mm. And so I wrote a letter. He said, now I want you to find 100 first ladies. And so I started looking online at different churches. I pulled some out of the organization that he's with, and I pulled some out of there, and or some pastors, senior female pastors, Australia, Africa, Chinese, whatever, and I created a postcard. I had Aaron Hingston to create a postcard for me, and from there I started sending postcards out to different women, and although I didn't hear from all of them, the ones that I did, to hear that, you don't know how this just saved my life. And from there, I'm trying not to cry. And from there, I knew, it's
okay.
And from there, I knew I found my purpose. I knew that that pain was not in vain, And I think sometimes God, where's this coming from? Oh, Charmaine. And we hold it in for so long, and you make it look, people in leadership or in roles or influencers make it look so easy. But it is not. It is not. It is not easy. And even after you've gone through it and things still come up, you still have to try to be that. And that's why I'm so transparent, because I don't want people to think that life is just so perfect for us because you have a limelight. It's not. It makes it more difficult. Yeah. But where we are able to help is to let them know that, baby, you're not by yourself. I think that's where we fail. we make people feel like it's so beautiful, and it's a beautiful experience, but it's a hard one.
Yeah.
And
I think your reason why I have a different type of love for you, I don't know if I can call you my favorite.
you don't do that.
I might want to sometimes.
Okay.
But I feel like I have a different type of love for you because you saw me.
For sure.
No, I'm going to start crying again.
Mm-hmm.
But you saw me because I feel like you identified with the type of pain that I felt. Though I wasn't somebody's first lady, I was in a place where I couldn't hurt in public.
Yeah.
I couldn't. And which is crazy because I don't necessarily care for this,
Right.
but I knew that this was my purpose.
Right.
This is a part of my purpose. I can't get away from it.
Exactly.
But with that, it comes, sometimes you're bleeding. The only thing I can think of is like you have a cut and you're trying to pack it and cover it, and your wounds just still, you keep bleeding out.
Right.
And you did so good at covering it up. Mm. But there was a point where it started to come, like you could see that it was on you.
Right.
And in that time was the most influential time that I feel like you had ever been to me. Mm-hmm. But to not know that you were literally crying for someone to see you.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And out of that, you weren't selfish. Like, I feel like my reason for, especially for having you on my podcast, is because there was this, and I don't even know if I can articulate it in words. There was this, it was like hope was sitting in your voice, even though you couldn't find it for yourself.
That's powerful, Charliy.
And I needed that. And, you know, in full transparency, some people know, some people don't. I had just come to you after having a rough time.
Yeah.
I lost a baby.
Yeah.
One before that, I gave up. Yeah. So it was all of these different things where I was like, I want to give my truth, but I don't think anybody's going to handle it because I don't know if anybody knows how to handle it. But then I know that, like, I want to be open. I want to share because I know on the other side of this, I'm going to find myself.
Right.
And it's taken some time, right? It's taken a lot. But to see you go through that and to see you, like, face it head on, or now to hear that, like, you didn't have any other option. That was your only means of survival, was to let it out and, like, really give it to God.
Right.
Because that's all you had.
Right.
You had people around you.
Right.
But you only had God in that moment.
God. Exactly.
And so now you use that, and you're like a saving grace to other people.
Wow.
Like, you are an untouched gem. Like, I don't even know if people talk a lot about, like, Iyanla and Oprah, and all respect to them.
Right.
But they haven't met Tammy yet.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Because there's very few people who can take their pain and really use it, not monetize it.
Right.
Because you don't do it to monetize it. Now, we are coming for the coin.
Okay.
Let me come back.
Listen.
She's taking the sponsorships. We're taking it. But you don't do it to monetize it. It's like you're like the Harriet Tubman of healing.
Wow. Charmaine.
Like, I'm, like, you know.
That's powerful. Because I really don't like to see people hurt. I really don't. I really don't. I think it's, if I can help, and I think whenever we talked, I think I wept with you before I talked with you.
You did. You did.
Because I care so much and I felt your pain. I did. And what I've learned is being judgmental doesn't help you. And sometimes,
because we're already beating up on ourselves.
you don't need, exactly. And you preaching back at me at this time is not what I'm needing. I just need you to hear me, and I need you to show me how I can get out of this, or let me know, reassure me that this is not my end, you know. And I think that's where I give what I needed and didn't have. And if I didn't, because I have to be careful, because if I didn't make a dime off of it, I would still do it, right? I told my son the other day, I said, well, not the other day, but sometime, I told him, you can come to me with anything, and I'm not going to judge you. You can ask him. He's come to me with some pretty stuff. I don't like it, but I'm not going to judge you.
Yeah.
And I said, I refuse to win everybody else and lose you because you feel ashamed to come to me. I think there's nothing that we could feel ashamed about that I can come to you with. If God has put me in a place to be a vessel that you can help me to be, and I just finally understood and accepted that's just who I am. Not because I'm good, not because I'm perfect, not because I don't hurt, but because this is just like you're sitting here because God has given you no other options.
Yeah.
But to do it, and to do it the way I have told you. I am not other people. I had to get over that. I may not speak like other people. I may not preach like other people, but I'm going to give you what you need with the Spirit of God as much as I can. As much as I can. Because I get so convicted when I do. I'm like, oh my God, did I say the right thing? But God's love is, and love is a miracle.
Yeah.
Love is a miracle, and I just love God's people, and I see the best. I was telling a friend the other day, I saw the best in you when you didn't see it. Even go to prison, whatever, I saw the best in you before then. I've been trying to, this is who I saw. What you're doing now is what I saw. So what I saw in that little 3-year-old girl who was smiling, or 5 or 6-year-old, I think you were 5, I think at that time, 6 or 7.
It's like, what year was that?
99.
I was like 7. It was 6.
I saw
7.
a beautiful
7.
little girl just with so much joy and potential. And just today, it's the same. I see so much greatness in you. That's the stuff I can say offline, but I'm not. I'll wait. I will say it. But there's some greatness, and I'm just so proud to see that you're finally saying, okay, this is my space. This is who I am. And I invite you in my space because I trust you. And so I'm just grateful that you are finally allow God to pull out of you. Or not, he's already been doing that, but you surrender to what he's been pulling out of you. And so this is a beautiful opportunity, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell everybody where they can find you? Actually,
Yes.
no. Before then, I need you to give everybody your 1-minute sermon.
My 1-minute sermon.
On how you unpacked.
Okay.
How you unpacked it all.
Okay.
To move forward.
First of all, whatever we go through is not about us. And so the time that you're going through it makes you feel like you want to quit. But if you can remember in your mind that this is not about me, and then at some point you'll realize that at the end results always burst the harvest that you were planting. And some of our harvest, the seeds that we planted, it had to be tears, it had to be finances, it had to be pain, but you have sown in tears, but your harvest is coming. So just remember, whatever you're going through, that going through is bigger than you. Somebody is waiting to hear your testimony. And like the Bible says, we overcome by our testimony.
Thank you. Now tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on. My name is Tammy Stewart, and you can find me on, my website, www.motivate2motivate.org. You can find me on Facebook, Tammy Stewart, Tammy. You can find me on Instagram, M2M Tammy Stewart, or on TikTok, Tammy Stewart. YouTube, Tammy Stewart.
Thank you again for joining me.
I love you.